You ever wake up on your birthday and just, no? Not because you're older. Not because your bones creak louder than your morning coffee machine. But because your phone is quiet. Like weirdly quiet. Like, are we in a blackout or am I just that forgettable? Quiet. Yeah. That was me. Last year. My name's Mason Delgado. And on the morning of my 32nd birthday, the only thing lighting up my phone was a notification from my banking app reminding me my rent was due in 5 days. No. Happy birthday! From my mom. No terrible pun gift from my dad. No fake sarcastic. Congrats on surviving another year, loser. From my younger sister, Camilla. Just crickets. Now, for context, growing up, Camilla was the event. You know those kids whose birthdays basically turn into neighborhood-wide parades? That was her. Every year, like clockwork, our house transformed into some Pinterest board disaster. She had unicorns, bounce castles, live bands, even a llama one year. No one ever explained the llama. It just showed up wearing a pink ribbon and sunglasses like it had a modeling contract. Me? I got one of those sheet cakes from Costco and a card that may or may not have originally been addressed to Jason. Spoiler, I'm Mason. At some point, I stopped expecting much. I figured I was just the low-maintenance kid. The one who didn't throw tantrums. The one who didn't need attention or glitter balloons to feel loved. But here's the thing about being low maintenance. Your whole life, people start treating you like you run on autopilot. Like you'll just be fine no matter what. Until you're not. So I waited. Gave them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were planning a surprise. Maybe my phone was broken. Maybe I was on some secret "don't text him until noon" birthday prank list. I even baked my own cake just to keep the mood festive. It was a sad little chocolate thing from a boxed mix, slightly burned on the bottom and leaning like a stressed-out skyscraper. I put one candle in it. Just one. Out of stubborn hope. Then, around 8 p.m., I made the mistake of opening Instagram. First post on my feed. My sister, Camilla. Caption. It's a girl. Ribbon party popper. Thank you to everyone who came to celebrate our little miracle. 2 hearts. #gender reveal. #family first. Photo. Camilla and her husband kissing under a burst of pink smoke, on a rooftop deck covered in streamers and champagne flutes. Everyone was there. Mom grinning like she was being paid for every tooth. Dad in a matching girl dad again shirt. Even Aunt Regina, who once said gender reveals were the pinnacle of patriarchal nonsense, was in the background holding a mimosa like she forgot all her principles. And me? I wasn't even tagged. No. Wish you could have been here. No. So sad Mason had to miss it. Just pink smoke, fake laughter, and enough hashtags to induce nausea. Oh, and did I mention? This party was held on my birthday. You read that right. While I was sitting on my couch, half watching reruns and eating off-brand pizza, my family was 15 miles away partying like I didn't exist. No call. No text. No excuse. Just gone. And maybe it wouldn't have hurt so much if it had been strangers. But these were the people who were supposed to love me. Who I'd driven to the airport at 3 a.m., helped move furniture in the rain, and babysat Camilla's French bulldog during her finding myself in Tulum phase. You'd think after 32 years, I'd earn at least a birthday card. But I didn't even get a slice of pink cake. I didn't confront them. Not right away. I could have texted something passive-aggressive like, "Hope the pink smoke didn't stain Mom's blouse. Wouldn't want to ruin her outfit for my non-existent birthday dinner." But I didn't. Instead, I stared at that post for a long time. Then I closed the app, set my phone down, and finally blew out the one candle on my sad little cake. It didn't even go out clean. The flame wiggled stubbornly like it, too, didn't want this night to be over. You know what I did after that? Cleaned up the kitchen. Like some background character in a sitcom, I scraped frosting off a cracked plate, rinsed out the bowl, and put everything back in its drawer. And the entire time, I kept asking myself one question. Was it really that hard to remember? I mean, it wasn't like my birthday moved. It wasn't like I kept it secret. I even sent a reminder text 3 days earlier in the family group chat. Hey, just a heads up, I'll be free Saturday if anyone wants to do dinner or something low-key. Let me know! Crickets. Even when my dad read it, I saw the scene receipt. But no one replied. And you know what the worst part was? This wasn't new. This wasn't some once-in-a-blue-moon accident. This had been building for years. It was just never this obvious. I was the independent one. The guy who didn't need help. The kid who didn't have big life milestones to throw parties for. Camilla? She gave them constant things to celebrate. Engagement. Wedding. Baby announcement. Baby bump photos. Baby shower. Baby moon. Me? I got a new espresso machine and ran my business without drama. I guess that wasn't festive enough. I remember one Christmas, my mom handed Camilla a diamond necklace and gave me socks. Not even cool socks. Just socks. Beige. No gift bag. Just wrapped in newspaper and slapped on the table like a consolation prize. I didn't say anything back then either. I thought, don't make it about stuff. Don't be petty. But standing in my quiet kitchen on my birthday, those socks felt heavier than they ever had. The next day, I got a text from Mom. Finally. It just said, "Sorry, sweetie. Everything was so hectic. Hope you had a good night, red heart, red heart, red heart." I stared at it for 10 full seconds. Then I replied with just one word. Sure. No punctuation. No emoji. Just sure. Camilla didn't message at all. I guess when you're throwing pink confetti and raking in Facebook likes, there's no need to reach out to your invisible brother. That week, I went through a mental cycle that should be familiar to anyone who's ever felt like the afterthought in their own family. Hurt. Justification. Forgive and minimize. Get angry again when you realize you're always doing step 3. I kept going to work. Kept showing up for clients. But I was tired. Tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. Because this wasn't just about a missed birthday. It was about finally seeing the pattern. The pattern where I only mattered when I was useful. When I was picking someone up. Or helping someone move. Or fixing a last-minute spreadsheet because Dad didn't know how Google Drive worked. So that night, while half watching a home renovation show and listening to some influencer yell about reclaimed wood, I quietly opened my laptop. And started planning a party. Not just any party. Mine. Now, when I say I started planning a party, I don't mean I opened Pinterest and searched for DIY revenge party themes. I mean I pulled up a blank spreadsheet, labeled it Operation Unbothered, and started organizing tabs like I was prepping for a military campaign. Because if I was going to throw myself a party, not just any party, but one they'd remember, it had to be surgical. Not spiteful. Not dramatic. Just unforgettable. At work, I'd planned everything from rooftop weddings to surprise engagements in hot air balloons. I'd seen a bride skydive into her own reception. I'd booked champagne-trained monkeys, don't ask. But never once had I planned something for myself. So I decided to go all out. The theme? Presence over presents. Because if I'd learned anything, it's that being remembered means more than being gifted. I spent the next few weeks blocking out weekends, checking weather patterns, budgeting guest counts, and even test-driving venues like it was my wedding. One guy asked if I was proposing. I said yes to myself. Still, I didn't tell anyone in my family. Not a word. It wasn't revenge. Not really. It was just that something inside me had finally gone still. Like I'd stopped waiting for them to be different. I wasn't planning this party to prove something. I was planning it to reclaim something. My birthday. My joy. My space in the freaking narrative. And something else happened during that process. People showed up. Not my family, no. But friends. Clients. Co-workers. My assistant Jenna, who once brought me soup when I had the flu and hadn't asked for a single raise in 3 years, offered to help with logistics. One of my longtime clients, a Broadway lighting designer, volunteered her team for the evening setup. Even my landlord's son, who I once helped with a last-minute resume, offered to DJ. It felt surreal. And not in a main character glow-up way. In a real way. Like maybe the people who mattered weren't the ones I was born into, but the ones who saw me when I wasn't waving my arms begging to be noticed. Now, choosing the yacht? That was a moment. I wasn't trying to flex, okay? But I'd recently booked a high-end anniversary cruise for a retired NFL couple, and the owner of the yacht company liked how I handled logistics. He jokingly said, "If you ever want to party like the rich and miserable, I'll give you a discount." So I called him. 3 days later, I had the Midnight Raven booked for the second weekend of July. Capacity, 120 guests. 3 decks. Custom lighting. Glass dance floor. And because I'm petty but not cheap, a dessert station that would make Willy Wonka weep. I didn't put my name on the invites. Didn't post about it. Just hand-delivered sleek, embossed envelopes to the people who'd shown up in my life. Not just once, but consistently. Meanwhile, my family? Still posting gender reveal updates. Still tagging everyone except me. Mom shared a reel titled, "Preparing for Grandma Life," featuring Camilla belly dancing to Taylor Swift. Dad posted a photo of himself reading baby books with the caption, "Papa Prep Mode Activated Flexed Biceps." No one mentioned me. At all. It was like they'd collectively decided I didn't exist unless I was holding a screwdriver or paying for takeout. But I wasn't mad anymore. I was clear. And when the RSVP count passed 100, and I finalized the catering menu, I knew something I'd never admitted out loud before. I didn't want them there. Not because I hated them. But because I finally accepted that they didn't know how to celebrate me, unless I was serving someone else's spotlight. The day of the party felt like opening night on Broadway, but instead of actors, I had engineers, hairstylists, freelancers, a florist who once saved me from a client meltdown, and a tattoo artist who once fixed a spelling error mid-session while I was coordinating backstage at a charity event. Her hands? Steady as a surgeon. I arrived early. Didn't dress flashy, just a black tailored jacket, loafers that didn't kill my arches, and a wristwatch I'd bought years ago as a treat after my first six-figure quarter. No name brand screaming for attention. Just sharp, clean, and mine. The yacht, the Midnight Raven, was docked like it knew it had something to prove. 3 decks. Champagne bar on top. String lights wrapped around the rails like gold thread. And in the center of the top deck, a sleek LED sign that flickered to life just after sunset. "Welcome aboard." Followed by a soft fade-in. Hosted by Mason Delgado. No frills. No hashtags. Just that. The guests started arriving around 7:30 p.m. sharp. Some in cocktail dresses. Others in business casual and wide eyes, marveling at the view. We cruised just beyond the marina, water lapping gently against the hull as the city skyline shimmered behind us. The music? Classy but vibey. No. Cha-Cha Slide. Or Sweet Caroline. Just deep house remixes, smooth jazz, and an acoustic cover of Levitating that got more compliments than I expected. And here's the kicker. Every person who stepped on board knew why they were there. Because at some point I'd been there for them. Quietly. Unconditionally. No questions asked? This party? It was just my way of finally saying thanks for seeing me. The food was outrageous, not in volume, but in quality. Mini filet mignon bites. A seafood bar with actual truffle butter. And a dessert cart that included customized macarons with phrases like, "I showed up. No pink smoke required." And, "We don't forget birthdays here." Yeah. I let myself be a little petty. Sue me. The drinks? Flowing. The energy? Effortless. And me? For once in my life, I wasn't running logistics in the background, fixing other people's problems. I was in it. Laughing. Toasting. Getting dragged into selfies. Hearing, "I didn't know you could dance," from at least 3 different people. And right around 9:30, Jenna, my assistant turned co-conspirator, walked up to me grinning like she'd won the lottery. You're not gonna believe who just showed up at the dock. I blinked. Please don't say fire inspectors. We're already towing that line. Nope, she said. Your mom. Your dad. And oh, look. Camilla and her +1. Well, +2 now. I felt it in my chest. That weird, heavy beat that comes when you're not sure whether to brace or laugh. They're not on the list, I said. Jenna smirked. Yeah. I noticed. What did you tell them? I said, sorry, private charter. Guest list closed. Please enjoy the city lights from the pier. I stared at her. Then burst out laughing. It was so simple. So calm. So perfect. And then she added, Camilla looked like she swallowed a lemon. Even better. I turned back to the deck, took a long sip of champagne, and let the moment wash over me. I didn't need to confront them. Didn't need to storm off or raise my voice or post a cryptic message on social media. They were there. On the dock. Looking up at something they didn't even realize had my name on it, until they saw it. Because I'd had my name engraved in gold vinyl on the back of the yacht. Not huge. Not flashy. But clean. Elegant. Lit from beneath with a soft glow that made it look like it had always been there. Mason Delgado. Right above the waterline. And for the first time in my life, I didn't care whether they thought I'd earned it. Because I knew I had. By midnight, the yacht was cruising back toward the marina, and the music had shifted to softer, slower tracks. People were chatting in clusters, shoes off, hair messy, laughing like they'd all just stumbled out of a dream. Me? I stood at the top deck railing, arms folded, watching the city lights reflect across the water. And in the distance, still visible, still awkwardly lingering, were 4 silhouettes on the pier. They never left. That's the part that surprised me. They just stood there. Camilla occasionally pacing. Dad pretending to be on his phone. Mom clutching her jacket like the wind had wronged her personally. At one point, I caught Camilla squinting through her phone camera, trying to zoom in. And then, bingo! Her head jerked back like someone had just slapped her with a realization. She saw the name. My name. I'd seen that look before. It wasn't rage. It wasn't shock. It was discomfort. The kind people get when their narrative breaks. Because in their version of my life, I was the background character. The errand runner. The Mason's doing fine, he's low maintenance. Sibling. Not the guy hosting a 120-person chartered yacht celebration with a name on the stern. And definitely not someone they needed to RSVP to. After we docked, most of the guests either headed out or stuck around to help clean up, despite me insisting they didn't have to. That's the kind of people who came. The kind who showed up. I was helping Jenna pack up leftover favors when I heard footsteps on the gangway. Then a familiar voice. Mason. Can we talk? It was Mom. Hair curled, makeup just barely smudged. She wore that strained smile she always used when trying to pretend she hadn't just done something awful. Behind her were Dad, arms crossed, and Camilla, arms folded across her baby bump like she was protecting it from whatever truth was coming. I exhaled. Slow. Docks closed to guests, I said without looking up. Private event. Mason, Mom said, stepping forward. Please. We didn't know. Didn't know what? I asked, straightening up. Camilla stepped in, tone sharp. That this was your event. She said it like I'd committed fraud. Like I'd duped 120 people into attending a fake birthday hosted by a mystery benefactor named definitely not Mason. Dad added, You could have told us. We would have come. I finally looked up. It was on my birthday. Again. Mom flinched. Not dramatically, just a blink, a twitch of guilt behind her eyes. We didn't mean to hurt you, she said softly. Yeah, I replied. But you didn't mean to remember either. That shut everyone up for a second. Camilla rolled her eyes. Are you seriously still upset about that? We had a huge day, Mason. The gender reveal was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And this isn't? I gestured around. You think I throw yacht parties every weekend? She opened her mouth, then closed it. Like she hadn't considered that I might have anything worth celebrating outside of her womb activity. Dad tried again. Look, we just want to be part of your life. You had the chance, I said. Years of chances. Silence. Then Mom said, Can we at least come aboard? Say hi to everyone? Jenna, bless her, emerged from behind me holding a clipboard like a security guard at Coachella. Sorry, she said with a tight smile. We're at capacity. Insurance reasons. Camilla scoffed. Are you serious? I'm very good at my job. Jenna replied, not blinking. Mom's smile cracked. They didn't expect this. They didn't expect to be left out. They didn't expect to be standing behind a rope. They didn't expect me to have boundaries. And as they turned, slowly, awkwardly, and walked back toward the pier parking lot, I realized something else. They finally understood how it felt. To watch something important from a distance. To not be invited. To wonder if maybe they weren't the main characters after all. The next morning, I woke up with my blazer still on, half a chocolate-covered strawberry mashed into my sleeve, and a vague memory of someone challenging me to a push-up contest on the dance floor. For the record, I won. Barely. There were witnesses. Outside, the sun was already turning the sidewalk into a skillet, and my apartment smelled like leftover dessert and ego. My phone buzzed from the kitchen counter like it had unfinished business. I let it sit there while I shuffled around barefoot, sipping lukewarm water like it was medicine. I wasn't rushing toward it. Not anymore. When I finally picked it up, I wasn't even surprised. 23 new texts. 7 missed calls. 3 voicemails. All from people with the last name Delgado. Camilla had texted first. Around 1 a.m. Wow. Real classy, Mason. Hope your ego enjoyed its night. Then another, about 40 minutes later. Also, thanks for not inviting your own niece's future parents. She'll grow up knowing. I didn't even know what that meant. Was the fetus planning to hold a grudge? Mom's texts were their own emotional roller coaster. Sweetheart, please don't shut us out. We love you. It wasn't intentional, we just got busy. Camilla's pregnancy is hard on everyone. You always used to be so forgiving. I stopped reading after the one where she called my party exclusionary. As if not being invited to something once in her life had permanently damaged her social standing. Dad, of course, brought his signature charm. Hope you're happy with yourself? To which I briefly considered replying. Deeply. Thanks for checking. But I didn't. I was in too good a mood to waste sarcasm. Instead, I made a proper breakfast. Like eggs in a skillet and everything. Played some jazz. Let the sunlight in. And for the first time in a long time, I felt good. Not performatively good. Not fake it till you make it. Good. Just calm. Like I wasn't clinging to the idea that my family would ever change. You know what happens when you stop performing for people who don't clap for you. Silence. But also, peace. I didn't need to blow up the group chat or call for a family meeting. They already knew why they were standing on that dock. They already knew why they weren't on the list. The moment they saw my name, on the yacht, in gold, they understood more clearly than any text I could have written. So I let the phone sit. Instead, I wrote thank you notes. By hand. To Jenna. To the caterers. To the lighting team. To the guy who knocked over the sorbet cart and apologized 8 times while crying into his linen napkin. And you know what else? I booked a trip. One of the guests at the party was a former client who now ran destination events in Greece. Santorini, specifically. She asked if I'd be available to consult on an intimate oceanside wedding. I said yes before she finished the sentence. 2 weeks later, I was packing a suitcase while Camilla posted new baby bump photos with captions like, "Can't wait to meet our little blessing, 2 hearts, shower countdown begins." No tag. No DM. Not even a passive-aggressive invite. But for once, I didn't flinch. When Mom texted asking if I could help hang decorations, I didn't reply. When Dad forwarded some stroller registry nonsense, I deleted it. When my uncle called saying, "It's not too late to smooth things over," I let it ring. Because it wasn't about grudges. It was about gravity. The second I stopped orbiting around them, I realized how much lighter my life could be. Santorini didn't just look like a postcard, it mocked every photo I'd ever seen. The sunsets were so theatrical I kept waiting for someone to cue a standing ovation. The air smelled like citrus and sea salt, and the blue domes really were that blue. It felt fake in the most magical way. I landed, slept off the jet lag, and woke up feeling 10 years younger. The wedding I was hired to consult on was elegant, simple, and nothing short of joyful. No crying toddlers. No family feuds disguised as seating chart disputes. Just two people in love, surrounded by the kind of friends who actually meant it when they toasted to forever. I spent the day before the ceremony checking on lighting cues and adjusting flower placements, then sat alone at a little outdoor cafe that evening with a glass of wine and a breeze that felt like forgiveness. No group chats. No pings. No guilt texts about baby showers or family obligations. Just peace. But because life has a sense of humor, that's exactly when my phone buzzed. It was Mom. "Hey, sweetheart. Just wanted you to know. Camilla gave birth this morning. Healthy baby girl. 7 pounds? Named her Camille." I blinked at the message. Camille. They named her Camille. Not even a nod to anyone else in the family. Just Camilla naming her daughter after herself like she was Beyoncé dropping an album and calling it Beyoncé 2. 0. No. We missed you at the shower. No. Wish you could have been there. No. You've been quiet lately. Are you okay? Just an announcement. Like a press release from the Delgado PR team. I put my phone down and didn't touch it for the rest of the night. I didn't feel hurt exactly. I just felt confirmed. Like the universe had posted a final reminder that this chapter was fully closed. The next morning, as I stood barefoot on the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean, I decided to mark the occasion. I opened my phone, went to the family group chat, and typed a single message. Sending warm wishes to Camille. May she grow up surrounded by people who make her feel seen. Then I left the group. Not with a bang. Not with drama. Just a quiet little click that felt like dropping a stone into still water. And I didn't check the replies. Instead, I walked into the reception like I'd never been overlooked in my life. I danced. I laughed. I watched fireworks go off over the sea while the couple kissed beneath them, and in that moment, I realized something beautiful. I hadn't just survived being forgotten. I'd built a life so full, so loud, so mine, that even when my family finally noticed, I didn't need them to anymore. And when I got back home a week later, guess what was waiting in my mailbox? A printed invitation to Camilla's "Welcome Camille" party. Glitter. Pastels. RSVP instructions. Even a note from Mom. "We'd love for you to help host. You're great with events." No apology. No recognition. Just an assumption that I'd be the support act. Again. I didn't respond. Instead, I framed the invitation. Hung it in my office, right next to the yacht photo with my name in gold. Every time someone asks about it, I just smile and say, "That's the last event I never planned." A few months passed. Camilla's Instagram turned into a pastel explosion of baby bows and curated chaos. #MomLife was her new personality, and Mom was now Nana in her bio. Dad mostly posted blurry backyard photos and occasionally commented on mine with things like, "Proud of you, son." Always 3 years late and suspiciously timed. But I didn't engage. I wasn't bitter. I was done. I was living in color now, brighter, louder, without apologies. New clients, new projects, a new circle that didn't question my worth every time I didn't show up with a gift bag or fix a printer. I even took up pottery. Jenna said my first attempt looked like a haunted cereal bowl. I kept it anyway. Then on my birthday, 1 year after the night they forgot, I got a knock on my door. Not a text. Not a call. A knock. I opened it to find my mom. Alone. Holding a small cake. Store-bought. Lopsided icing. One candle. She didn't say anything right away. Just held it out like an offering. I remembered, she finally whispered. I looked at the cake. Then at her. And said gently but firmly, I already celebrated. She blinked. I didn't slam the door. Didn't yell. Didn't cry. Just stepped back, let silence do what it does best, and closed it behind me. Not out of anger. But peace. The kind that only comes when you stop waiting for a seat at a table that was never set for you.